So, what ends up happening is that through the Middle Ages, there is a growing sense among Christians that one, the world's coming to an end. That's just sort of a thing Christianity has built into it, the imminent end of the world that goes back to the earliest Christians. And there's also the idea in Christianity that Satan and God are at war, that the earth is a kind of battleground in the war between Satan and God. And in the Middle Ages, the idea was as the world gets closer to coming to an end, Satan intensifies his war. The war gets amped up. And of course, what Satan wants to do is outrage God, is insult God. And the best way to do that is to take human beings who are made in the image of God, the closest thing Satan can get access to in the form of God, even better than the angels. The angels are sort of, again, angelic, they're workers. But they're not made in the image of God in the same way that human beings are. And insofar as Satan can get access to us and our soul and then damn us, send us to hell, he can destroy little micro regions of the image of God. And so insofar as the world's coming to an end, Satan ramps up his campaign to outrage God. And the way that Satan does that is primarily through getting demons to tempt people into doing things that will ultimately get them damned. And what's more tempting than power? There's nothing more tempting than power. Power is the most tempting thing of all. And so what can the demons do? They can pretend to give you powers. And what emerges in the church is the idea that Satan has introduced the final heresy. And the final heresy is the idea that human beings can make a pact with demons or with the devil, and that pact allows them to contravene Christianity. And insofar as they contravene Christianity, they're able to get powers while on earth. This is a Faust story. And this idea is these people, particularly women, are able to accomplish this through making pacts with the devil. And this is the final push against God, that the devil has a final heretical move. There's been all kinds of heresies in the past, Gnosticism, Marcionism, all the different isms, Arianism. But this, right, is going to be the final gesture. And the church unleashes massacre to try to stop this. And that becomes basically the early modern witch trials. So, in a sense, the church early on viewed sorcery as one sin among other sins. Yeah, you summon the devil, that's bad. You had adultery, that's bad. You stole, that's bad. Come to the church, get your confession, say your Hail Marys, and you're done. Beginning in around the 13th century and then into the 15th century, sorcery becomes less and less thought of as merely a sin, and it becomes associated with a heresy, that you are in fact a heretic. You've abandoned Christianity, you've made a pact with the devil, and you're ultimately trying to destroy Christianity in league with the devil. And that transition of sorcery from a sin to a heresy brought you under the jurisdiction of the Inquisition and inaugurated the witch trials as we know them. And of course, the witch trials executed somewhere between 40 and 60,000 people, mostly women. So that's the big transition. Sorcery goes from just a sin to becoming a heresy. And that transition is decisive in European history.
I never quite understood the following. Like, if I kind of grasped the dogma of the Catholic Church at the time, and maybe I'm completely wrong here and way off, but that miracles were or supernatural events are reserved only for God. So everything else is superstition, because these sort of events or powers can only come from God himself. And yet, like you say, a lot of people get persecuted. So I don't know how to square the two. Maybe my first premise is doesn't hold water.
No, that's certainly the official position of the Catholic Church, right? That only God can do miracles, and that's right. And so right, at least according to the Catholic Church. The position that emerges is that yes, the demons can't do supernatural things. They can't do that, but they can do trickery. In the same way that I don't know if you're when you're younger and your uncle could like make a quarter coin come out of your ear, and you're like, oh wow. When you're 6 years old, you can believe your uncle can take a quarter out of your ear. Well, demons are a lot more powerful than your uncle, and they're a lot older, and they're a lot smarter, and they can do a lot of tricks. And they know a bunch of stuff. And so imagine the kind of illusions and the kind of trickery they have up to them. And so, in the same way that a 6-year-old you can believe that your uncle can pull a quarter out of your ear, well, 30-year-old you could be tricked by a demon who's 6,000 years old and can do all kinds of stuff. And so, the Catholic Church argued that the demons can't do supernatural things, but they can trick you. And that trickery can be pretty damn convincing. I mean, I've seen, I don't know, magicians who I know don't have supernatural powers, but I have no idea how they're able to like find the card or make the thing disappear or to make this happen over there. I have no idea. I mean, they can trick Penn and Teller, some of the best illusionists in the world. Well, if human beings can trick people, all the more so ancient demons. And that's the grift. That's the con, is that the demons can't, but they can make you believe that they can. And the Catholic Church is like, please don't be tricked by these entities, because at the end of the day, yeah, they can trick you into doing things and they can trick you into believing things. And they can even, like, for instance, demons can't control the weather. This is the main thing that in the Middle Ages worried so many people, was that sorcerers and witches could cause weather magic. And weather magic doesn't seem terribly terrifying to us now, but if you live in an agricultural society where a single hailstorm can destroy your entire crop, the idea that a person can summon a hailstorm and ruin your crop, you starve. You can destroy a whole community that way. And so weather magic, and you look at the earliest depictions of witches, they don't look like witches in the way we think of them. They just look like women, and in the background almost always is a hailstorm. It's weather, because we associate thunder and lightning with witches and stuff because we still associate with this with weather magic. Well, witches can't cause the weather to change. That would require divine intervention. But what can demons do? Well, these manuals will say things like, well, demons can't control the weather, but they can fly, and they can go really high up in the air, and they can see where bad weather is coming, and they can tell a woman or a sorcerer, hey, if you do the summoning on Tuesday at 5 o'clock, then I can guarantee you at Sunday, I'll cause a storm to destroy your neighbor's crop. Well, what's happening is the demons can see the storm coming, and they trick the person into believing that they're summoning the storm, but the storm's coming anyway. It's just a demon can fly, go up and see the storm over there, and this is the way that this is the way that the Catholic Church officially believes that demons can trick people. They're not really causing the storm; they're just allowing the dupe to believe that correlation is causation. So this is the kind of way that it works. So no, demons can't cause things according to the Catholic Church, but they can trick you, and they do know a bunch of stuff. So in the same way that we would think of psychological manipulation, can a demon get you a girlfriend? No, but do demons know a little bit about like psychological manipulation? Yeah. And so in the same way that like pickup artists, these kind of Andrew Tate demons, those kinds of people can teach young men allegedly ways of picking up women. That's kind of what demons do. And so they can't get you a girlfriend, but they can teach you techniques of psychological manipulation to do that or whatever. So again, there's a lot of wisdom in the church's position that these demons are like, they're deviant. They don't really have power, but they can trick you into believing that they do. And again, we can look to people now who are like cult leaders who are able to engage in psychological manipulation of people. And we look at those and go, this is really dangerous. Why would you get in? Why would you make a deal with someone like that? You're probably being conned by them. And no cult member will ever tell you they're in a cult. Never. Because they've been brainwashed to believe they're not. And this is what the church is going to say. Of course, the church is ironic, right? They're going to, tell you that you're not in a cult. But they're going to tell you these entities, yeah, they can make you think that you can change the weather and find a girlfriend and get buried treasure. All these texts include buried treasure, by the way. Because why? Because obviously they should. Everyone loves buried treasure. But at the end of the day, you're only going to get this stuff, if you make a deal with them, make a pact with them. And the pact includes your damnation. And you're going to spend eternity in hell, despite the fact that you found a bucket of gold coins. Who cares? That's the danger of it all. But again, never doubt. I mean, how many people would sell their soul? How many people have made deals with the mob for a couple $1,000s? And now you have to go like kill somebody because you did that. People make deals with the devil, with a variety of devils all the time, all the way down into contemporary times.
Hey, thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. This podcast has no sponsors, no production team, and no editors. It's just little old me. And as such, I'm at the mercy of you lovely folks watching and listening. So please do subscribe on YouTube. Click that little bell thing. Follow on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Also, I don't want to sell you an ugly t-shirt that you don't really need. So if you can, and most of all, if you want, please support me on Patreon. And at this point, I have to express my eternal gratitude to my patrons on Patreon, aka the producers of this show. As always, without you comrades, this podcast simply wouldn't exist. So a massive, massive thank you to Ole, Marin Ferrara, Aljaž, Štrole, Aida Mancian, Miha Medved, Medinho, Goran, Gordon, Lorenzo, Jurečuk, Mila, Carmen, Veronica, and Taichi. You guys are the best.